hello. Good evening, and welcome to the 3BeerPod. Timmer, welcome back.
Howdy.
How you doing?
Oh, buddy, so good to be here today. It's been a while, 2 weeks. Seems like forever, buddy. But back in the seat here, feeling good. Looking forward to season 5.
Season 5, episode number 1. It is the 3BeerPod. I'm Chris. Tim's here. If you're tuning in for the very first time, Glenn Howard, Canadian curling legend, is going to be our guest. He is standing by, so we're going to talk to Glenn here in a couple minutes. So looking forward to that. I know we've got some curling fans that are tuning in here tonight that may have not caught the pod in the past. So welcome to it. We're silly, and we'll have some beers. That's pretty much what we're doing here. We want to say thanks to our sponsors that are back again for season 5, because in the end, they really don't have much of a choice. What are you saying there, Timmer?
Not gonna lie, I couldn't find the unmute button, dude. It's been 2 weeks. I think my mouse died. I'm not even sure what happened there. Thanks to our sponsors at the Health House, our good friend Chris McLeod over at the Realty House, and back again for season 5, Pakistan Super League. Sorry to our sponsors that I didn't get that out, but feeling good.
Tim, they don't have much of a choice.
I found the mute button now, buddy. We're good. Class act here for season 5. It's good.
We're rolling. We're rolling to start the season off. We always start with what you drinking, bud. That's where we feature 3 of our beer choices for the night. Tim, I made a run here this afternoon. Let's be honest, it's a shitty day. We've already had shorts. I was thinking when we wrapped up season 4, I'm like, I'll probably be doing this outside next time.
Yeah, I turned off the heat here in the 3 Beer Podcast studio, and it's freezing. I had to put the woolly doodles on underneath here just to stay warm. What do you got tonight, bud?
Going with Chill Pills from Stone Hooker. I have never seen this, Timmer. You were telling me about Stone Hooker.
Yeah, never had one.
Oh, very good. Starting with that tonight. And then I've got a couple from Spearhead. Again, I just dug out some stuff I'd never tried tonight when I made a run here. From Spearhead Brewing, this Hawaiian-style pale ale from Spearhead. And because of Sam Roberts. So with our guest, Glenn Howard, I got to tell you a Sam Roberts story once we're done. We don't have to drag him down with that story, but it all ties in. But nice. The Sam Roberts band ale. So that's my 3, Tim. What are you drinking tonight?
Going local with a couple here. We got Boxcars Brown Ale came out from Sons of Kent last week. So a recent new beer or a redo of a beer that they had out last year. So I'm going to crack that one here in a minute. Also, we've got Red Barn has their Farm Kettle Sour series, and it's been delicious. They had the raspberry and the key lime pie, and this one is the pink guava. I'm not going to lie, I already had this one last week, and it's delicious. And also, we'll talk a little bit more about this one in the Beer Buzz, but I got a one from our friends at Wellington. They just send us beer in the mail, and wow, is that pretty cool that they just send us beer in the mail? So we'll talk a little bit about their mix pack they got out, but this is the Faces Double IPA. Didn't know it was a double IPA, but we're gonna go for it anyways on a Tuesday. That's what I'm drinking, bud.
I want to address a couple comments here off the top, Timmer. I've got is Cloudy going for the Bieber look, and I've got Cloudy's going for the Flock of Seagulls look. So
right. So which one is it?
We made the deal that I wasn't going to get a haircut until I'm vaccinated. So I figured that would have happened by March. So here we are.
Right. And now you've got I think it's the Bieber look. I think that's what you're going for. I think it's 15 years ago Bieber look. Has Bieber been around 15 years? No.
No, he's not even 15 years old. All right, let's pull in our guest.
Wow, this is a good one.
Curling legend. This is what we call synergy, Tim, because this guy managed the beer store for 35 plus years. One of them anyway. This is Glenn Howard. Mr. Glenn Howard, how you doing tonight?
I'm great, guys. How are you guys doing?
We're very good. We're very good. We're excited to have you here. You were one of our listeners.
Go
I was
ahead.
just saying, we had a list of like hopes, and when we started this about a year ago of people we'd like to have on, and you were on that list not only for your curling background and your history there, but because you managed the beer store. I thought, well, that's a perfect little pice of synergy. So we're excited to have you tonight. Thanks for being here.
Well, listen, guys, thanks very much for having me. And I'm had a pretty good career curling and 38 years with the beer store. So it was a phenomenal career, and they enabled me to do what I had to do on the curling ice too. So. But listen, great to be here and love to have a chat with you boys.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Are you drinking with us tonight? Are you having a beer?
Nice.
Triple
bogey.
boys, triple
Nice.
bogey. It's the best.
Nice. Yes, it is. It's very, very good. Very good. Glenn, we want to talk about the beer store, but let's talk about your curling career. 4 world championships, 4 Briars, most games ever played at a Briar, 17 Ontario provincial championships. I'm sure you've had some club championships in there too. Did you ever think when you started curling that like it was a chance to become what you've become?
Not even maybe, Chris. Growing up, I just have one sibling, my brother Russ. He's 7 years older than me. I watched him get into curling. My dream was to play with him one day and maybe get to a Briar, which is our national championship. And lo and behold, I was able to do that right off the bat. We got together. The first couple of years were a little lean, and then in 1986, we got to our first Briar and almost won that one. So my dream came true. But then when you get a taste of it and you get really close to winning, and we lost the final, you just, I want to go back. And you get that thirst and you get that taste and you just want that drive. And, I've been blessed. I've been blessed with an incredible career. But you know what, guys, it's not me. It's the 3 other guys that I played with over the years. I've had some of the most amazing teammates, world champions alike, went on to win worlds without us, without myself, my brother, whatever. Just a great bunch of guys, and could have done it without them. But to answer your question, not a chance in hell did I ever think I would win 4 world championships and go to 18 Briars. Never thought that was going to happen.
Did you play, like, was it like something you played really young and then you went to high school and you're really good at it and it just continued? Or like, because I was saying to Tim, I said, it's very much like think about it this way. Like, we're softball players. That's how I met Tim. We play softball. We're not the highest level, but let's say we were pretty good. And then we win the local championship and they're like, hey, well, you could move on a little bit. And then you kind of end up in a similar path. But at curling, you can accelerate your career so quickly. Were you young when you started?
10. I was 10 years old, and that back in the day, we had the big rocks, the rocks that we're using in adult size, so to speak. That's all we had, and at a younger age, the ice was never good enough. You could get them to the other end, and so inevitably they didn't start us early enough. Now they got what they call little rocks. Kids are out 4 and 5 years old, zipping them up and down the sheet, playing half sheet. We didn't have that. We started again when I was about 10. And mom and dad got both Russ and I into it, and we just loved the game. And never had a coach my entire life. My father was a coach for both my brother and I. I sort of learned from Russ. Again, him being 7 years older, I kind of followed his footsteps, and then we joined together for 15 years after that. And but yeah, it was weird. It wasn't something that when I started the game that I envisioned myself being a Canadian champ or a world champ. I just, as we progressed, played, like you said, I played in school, but I loved it. I couldn't get enough of it. I played in junior ranks, did quite well in that. And as you get a little bit of a taste of it, you want more. Winning is fun, guys. Winning is fun.
I wish I knew.
You want to win more, so you do everything you can to do it. And then again, as it progressed, unfortunately, we did pretty well early. And that again, you get a taste of it. You just want to keep going back. And even I'm 58 years old, and I still can't get enough. I can't play enough. I love it.
Yeah, we don't know what winning's like. Like we're living vicariously through you. We've never won it.
You're telling me this great story about your softball career, and you went right on.
We peaked early. Early.
We're changing the topic. Is that what's happening?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. T-ball was a good year for me. I did really well in that. Tim, you had your hand up there. I could throw it to you.
No, Glenn, when you played in your first Briar, there were still some curlers using corn brooms.
Yes.
In 1986.
Yes.
How has the game changed from your 86 Briar to 2021 Briar this year? Do you like the changes that have happened, and where do you see it going?
I do, Tim. I think back in the day, you miss the sound of the corn brooms, and we used that. They had rink rats too, a synthetic broom that you'd sweep and made this awesome noise. That was great. I don't think it was that effective. knowing what we know today about sweeping and with the brushes and the brooms that we have today, I don't think we were that effective. It sounded good. And
It did sound good.
That was a big change, going from that went from a loud noise to a quiet one. But the product today, guys, the player is amazing, and the physical fitness, like they're athletes. We're athletes now. It's just it's a better product. The quality is as good as it's ever been. It's progressed very well. To answer your question, it's really gone in leaps and bounds as far as I'm concerned.
In 2007, the Briar was in Hamilton, and I was working in Hamilton at the time. And prior to the Briar starting, they had a media event to obviously drum up some excitement. So they called all the media out, and we all got to try to throw a rock into the button. And so I was first up. And they're like, all right, hey, Chris, I pulled my groin so bad. But here I am, the TV cameras were there, and there's other media around. And I was almost in tears because I never curled. I've never really done it. I get down the hack and I start to go. I first of all can't balance. I pulled something. I needed help off the ice. It was a disaster, but I had to keep it up. Like everything's fine. Crying. I was buckled. It hurt so bad. So to your point that these are athletes, like it truly is. Like it's not as easy as it looks. I just don't understand. I can't understand how you stay so balanced, how you're so comfortable on the ice, let alone how you're able to make the maneuvers you do on the pebbled ice.
You're basically years, really, Chris. It's years and years of practice. My father taught my brother and I that, in his mind, the proper technique of getting your foot, your slider foot right under your sternum. That's your balance point. You'd slide out technically perfect, and it would never let you down in a pressure situation. But the interesting thing about curling is it's not to your point, it's not a very natural position we get in. And the more you slide, the more you can turn your foot out and open up your knees and hips, the better balance you get. But it's really hard on your body. It's really hard. All the pressure's on your knees and legs, and it's really hard to mimic. That's the biggest thing we found training. You can't really mimic the curling delivery. You can do it statically on the ground, but you can't slide. People are trying to develop some sort of a sliding material with your socks and this sort of thing, and they're getting there. But even we do, if you work out as much as you possibly do, even those first couple slides when you haven't done it in a few months, it hurts. It hurts, and you feel it the next day, and you can work out and do everything you need to do. The more you work out, the better, no doubt. Yeah. But it still is a really weird position, and it's hard to mimic.
Is yoga part of training? I would just that positioning. Is that
Absolutely. Yeah, flexibility, right? The mobility and flexibility is huge when it comes to curling. More flexibility than anything. But you have to be strong because, again, you come down on that's one slider foot, your knees twisted out, your hips are all cockeyed. A lot of weight goes down onto that pressure onto the knee, and hence there has been a lot of knee problems over the years.
Have you ever split your pants while doing that?
No, I haven't. No, you wear baggy or stretchy pants, and you can't. You're good to go then.
Yeah, that's the things I'm thinking about sitting there going down the ice. Tim, what'd you have, buddy?
No, I was just. We got a video we're gonna watch here in a second, Glenn, but it is. It's considered one of the greatest shots of all time. Before we show that one, can you tell us the shot that you regret, the one that got away? The one that you're like, son of a.
Well, it's funny you say that. I did a podcast, or I did a podcast the other night with a crew from Saskatchewan, and they asked me the same question. And the same one popped into my head. It would have been the 2013 Briar. We were defending champs. We'd won in 2012. We're back, and we're in what's called a 1-2 game. So the top 4 teams made the playoffs. Number 1 and number 2 played off, and the winner got the bye to the final. The loser would drop down to the semi. We dominated the round robin. We were in great shape. Playing Jeff Stoughton. Final end, we're up 2. He's got last rock. We're up 2. And my very last shot, I can make a really easy shot to give him an easy shot for 2 that would tie the game. We'd go to an extra end. We'd have last rock. Generally, you win those 85 to 90% of the time. But no, there was a shot that I could have taken both his rocks out, and we win the game right there. So I play it, paper tick a guard, miss the shot. He draws for 3, and we lose the game. And to this day, and it was a team decision. The 4 of us, as so-called smart as we are, we allowed me to throw that shot. And to this day, I go, what was I thinking? And so inevitably, we lose that game. We then go down to the semifinal and lose that game. And we end up winning the whole after that. But it was like, had we won that, we're in the final. And I would not throw that shot again. It was makeable, but it was tough. And there's no reason to do it when, if we were only one up, for sure, because then he'd win the game otherwise. But we were 2. He gets his deuce. We're probably got a really good chance of winning an extra end. Stupid.
All right, Cloudy, let's pump it back up then, buddy. Let's see that shot.
This is what they call the greatest curling shot of all time, and we're talking to Glenn Howard.
Going to the 10.
Yep. Yeah. Hard. Whoa. Whoa. Hard. Whoa.
Really hard. Run it back. Jump it across. Get it. Oh, goodness. Oh, my.
See, I would have been flat on my ass just in the celebration. I probably would have fallen on the rock and ruined the whole shot. But
I have to admit, I never get tired seeing that. I really don't.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was, again, another unique situation was the 2009 Brier in Calgary, playing Joel Georgeson out of Saskatchewan. I personally did not play very well that game. Joel controlled the entire game. Same situation. We're 2 down coming home. And you wouldn't have seen it early, but Joel thought he guarded the only shot that I had a run in. And he guarded it. And I remember saying to Richie Hart, my third, I go, Richie, there's got to be something here. And we both looked and said, what if we hit this and we stick ours over there, hit our rock, and it goes over there? Who knows? Maybe it'll come around the horn. We had no idea. We really didn't. All we knew is throw it as best you can to stick on the side. And then what happens. And lo and behold, the angles were perfect. And we got our 3 and won the game. And it was pretty cool. A lot of fun to be a part of it.
That's an amazing shot. I was looking at it. I look at the diagram and I'm like, why did you throw it? You could have just taken out the 1 and took the 1, but you're down 2. So
we're down 2. We had to, and there was no real shot for 2. So he's sitting 2, the 2 yellows, as you can see.
Yeah.
And that red one that looked straight back, I guess that was my thrower. The one on the left, the red guard, he thought I could run it in and do something, but so he guarded my shooter. I ended up making, it was cool.
How do you see those things, man? Like, how do you, when I was playing, which was a very short-lived curling career in 2011 on Team OV, we didn't see those types of shots. So how do you even vision a shot like that? Or is it just a hope and a prayer sometimes?
Well, ironically enough, Joel Georgeson didn't see it. He could have guarded it. He could have taken that rock out. He could have done whatever. But he, and we didn't see it. And it's literally as he's throwing his guard, Rich and I kind of both at the same time said, well, maybe that's there. And you're frantically looking for something. There's got to be something there. You hope there is anyway. And you don't always see them. Quite often you'll come off and somebody said, well, why didn't you play this in the 4th hand? Oh, yeah, right. And it's easy to get kind of waylaid. Like you're out there and there's so many things going on and you're worrying about reading ice and strategy and this. And sometimes you don't always see some of the shots that you could play.
I think that's, like, I watch a lot of curling. I'm terrible at curling, but I watch a lot of curling. And I think your brother does an amazing job in calling stuff like that. And I think that's what makes watching curling on TV and other guys doing it on other networks, but watching or listening to Russ see the shot ahead of the shot for the next shot. It's the strategy part. That's got to play a big role in how curling has exploded in Canada, isn't it?
I couldn't agree more, Tim. I think, TSN got involved in about 85, 86. Then they started to broadcast curling. We used to get like 1 game a year or 2 games a year on CBC. TSN came in and started, broadcasting every draw. Now we've got, TSN doing that. We get Sportsnet doing the Grand Slams, which are on right now. And to your point, what I love about it is they get commentators in there that are retired curlers who are very, very knowledgeable curlers. My brother, Kevin Martin, Mike Harris, I can name off, Joe McCusker, everybody. So they know the game and they explain it so well and they explain the shots. The other beauty thing I love about curling is we're mic'd up. So you're listening to us talk and you can hear how we think. Like it doesn't get better than that. To be able to
it's awesome.
Right?
It really is.
You hear what Brendan Botcher's going to do and he's telling the audience what he's going to do and what he's going to do beforehand. And then the commentators jump on it. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. It really is.
And the voice we heard there, Vic Router, Vic,
of course, Vic, and Vic's a straight man, right? He's the setup. He asks those questions that some people were thinking don't want to ask, and again does a phenomenal job.
Yeah, legendary voice for sure. So many angles, Glenn, that we want to take here. I want to talk about just the fact that curling is such a sociable sport. I know the local curling club here. I know we've got some of those local curlers watching. It's so sociable. And the one thing I've run into you at a Brier, you probably don't remember, 2007, we had some beers.
It's the haircut. I don't recognize the
haircut. It was darker then too. But that was, I remember at the 2007 Brier, they said, you've got to go. And I said, I like curling. I don't know much about it. They said, no. The coolest thing is the curlers come to the Brier patch afterwards and they drink with you. And I said, Hey, what are you talking about? And literally, we were sitting there at Cops Coliseum at the time, and we watch a game or watch a night of curling, and we go to the Briar Patch, and in comes you and your foursome, and then the other teams come in, and we're just hanging around having a beer. Like the interaction you talk about on the broadcast, but off ice, and that is, what other sport do you get to do that with?
Zero. None.
Yeah.
I can't think of any. And to be honest with you guys, that's really why a big part of why I curled. I just love that interaction with the fans, with the boys. We go out, we have a good time. We don't always go right back to the room, go to bed, do our thing. We go out and have a couple of pints and enjoy the crowd, enjoy the people. And we had a ball. And I met so many amazing curlers, so many amazing fans right across the world, that keeps me coming back. And the only thing is, I'm noticing now it's not quite as prevalent as it used to be. The patches, the bar patches, a lot of the teams don't go back. It seems to be just sort of the thing to not do now, which which worries me a bit about. I don't want to see the fun get out of the game, out of our sport. That's the main reason I do it, guys, is for the fun, and I enjoy it so much. And if that fun part of curling is lost, I worry for it. It gets too much of a job, too much regimented. That being said, the product's amazing. Like the curlers are amazing, but I still think we need that social aspect and go and have some beers with the boys and the crowds.
How often does it happen though, where that night gets like ramped up? Like you maybe had a good game, maybe you had a bad game, maybe it just wasn't the results, but you have a beer, you have another one, you got some fans around, and then it gets ramped up, and you're like, I got to play tomorrow. Does that happen?
Yes, for sure it does, and we can go back 100%. Personally, the older I got, the least I could do. I just couldn't be able to handle it. But we go out and have several beers for sure. We meet up with guys like yourselves, and hey, Glenn, come on over and get a picture. And we'd say hello, and I'd ask, who are you guys? And I'm Chris, and I'm Tim, and where are you from, and what are you doing? And I hope you're enjoying the curling and this sort of thing. And it's awesome, and you just have this great time. You don't have to have 15 beer. But just go out and I really felt like the fans love that part, and I think you brought it up. So obviously, clearly, fans love the fact that hey, here comes Team Martin, here comes Team Gushu, and they just think it's fantastic. And like you said, what other sport can you actually brush elbows with the actual athletes? None.
Yeah.
Think about the Leafs finishing a game, and Austin Matthews comes to the bar with it. Like that. That doesn't happen. That's.
Could you imagine the fans though? Like,
No,
off the charts, right? Now it would be times 1,000 compared to what we get, but the same token, it can be exhausting as well because you end up talking. I tend to be a little social. I like to yak, and I'll talk to these people for hours, and I'll get back to the room and I can't talk. I've gone hoarse, and that's the only thing I had to be careful of. But we also picked our spots, right? We had an 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning game, we probably wouldn't have gone out.
I want to ask about, so you're at the Midland area, right? So that's your club. You play for the provincial championships, and what is it like? Is there like a free agent system where other guys from around the province are like, hey, Glenn, why don't you come play for us out of the Ottawa club or from the London club or from wherever? How does that work, building that team? Do you know these guys? Or are you making phone calls like, hey, you want to come play with us? How's that coming in?
That's an interesting progression as well. For the majority of my career playing with Russ, all four had to play out of the same club. So you didn't necessarily have to live in the same area, but you had to be a member of that same club. And that really kind of stymied who you could play with. You kind of had to stay in your local area. Then it kind of started to get opening up. They allowed throughout the province, you could pick up different people. Just recently, in the last couple of years, they're now allowing one sort of parachute player out of the province. So if the three of us play together because we're from Ontario, we're allowed to get another player from anywhere else in the country. They can come in and play with us. Can't have two. Can only have one. And I think they're realizing that they want to make sure that the Canadian teams are strong as possible. If you have a bigger pool to pick from, you can get stronger teams, and that's what you're seeing. You're actually seeing a lot of players are moving. Like if they live in Alberta, they'll move. Jeff Walker, for example, is from Alberta. He moved to Newfoundland for Gushu, but now he's allowed to be that one guy out. So anyway, this is what's happened. And it's made the product, and again, made the teams a lot stronger.
Could you imagine if, Tim, we're the top club at the Chatham Granite Club, and Glenn Howard moves to town? You're like, oh, come on. We're out of here.
Glenn Howard.
Who knows? I could be playing with you guys.
Well,
And it turns out.
I think some cuts would be made, Glenn. Let's be honest.
Yeah, Chris, we got to get you in shape because the last time you ripped the growing muscle, so we got to figure that out.
Yes. This is Chad. Speaking of, Chad had a question. He says, "Hey, I'll pay your membership if you want to join us at the Golden Acres Curling Club. You could throw lead." So there's an offer if you're looking to come to Bloodaway.
Chad, we're good to go next year, buddy.
Yes.
But you have to buy the beers.
Oh,
That's the other thing.
He's got connections.
He's got some connections. These curling clubs are hurting right now, Glenn. This has obviously been a terrible year for curling clubs. Where do you see that heading? These small clubs that are going to struggle to get back, and we don't know the future here in Ontario specifically. What do you think they can do to get rolling with this game? Is there modifications that we can make to make it happen for the next season?
It's interesting, Tim. We've talked about this a lot in the past. I was always worried about curling clubs in general. They don't flourish to begin with. A lot of them don't have a ton of members. We don't charge enough. A lot of these curling clubs we pay, $200, $300, $400, $500 a year. Golf memberships, ski memberships are 10 times that or 5 times that, but yet we don't seem to be able to get the money. And you need the bar revenue, you need everything. So I'm really worried after this pandemic. Half of a couple of months of last year, and then pretty much a good chunk of this year, most curling clubs had nothing, and they need summer rentals too. They'd use the ice surface for flea markets or whatever, garage sales, and you couldn't do any of that. So it scares me. I know government's coming through with a lot of things, but I think there will be quite a few clubs that won't open. And what's the answer, Tim? I guess government subsidy to help out, and maybe a good membership drive with most of the board of directors and all of these clubs come up with some ideas to get bodies in there. Make a deal. Make some real, like $150 membership. You get a broom and a free beer, and let's try the sport out. 100 people come out. If 20 stay, you're golden, right? So
I like that.
I think they have to do something like that just to get some people out and make it reasonable. But the sport is reasonable. The equipment's cheap, everything. It's awesome. Like anybody can play at any age. And we also have, as you know, we have these sticks now where you don't have to slide. You can put the stick on the end of the handle and you run out and push it. A lot of the seniors are doing that, and they're having a ball. They get the social aspect. They're probably curling better than they ever have, and yet they get the social in with the boys afterwards. So it's cool. So I'm really praying to God that it's going to be okay after this pandemic's all over with.
I got to ask, switching from curling a little bit, your day job was managing the beer store for 38 years, you said. Could that have been a better job for you, and to be able to run off and do the curling that you were doing at such a high level?
It worked out fantastic, Chris. I was blessed with some great bosses. I've retired from the beer store now, guys. I don't know if you know that. It's been a couple of years now, but my president, Ted Mraz, he's been president for 9 or 10 years now. He was amazing, especially in those latter years to help me out. Early years was tough because I only had a couple of weeks of vacation, and my first I think I started in '85. I started in part-time in like '81. But full-time in '85, and then went to a couple of Briars and Worlds, and they only had a couple of weeks holidays. But yet they found ways for me to go because they realized I'm representing our country, and they were so supportive. It was fantastic, and I couldn't have been more thankful. And obviously, it worked for me because I stuck with them. Like it was a great employer, and I knew I was going to continue with my curling. Yet they were so supportive that it worked out great for both of us.
So how many times did somebody bring a case empties in and they're like, holy shit, that's Glenn Howard. He's won the Briar on the weekend.
True. Quite a bit. A lot would come into the store and not really know, and they kind of give the double take. And a lot of them, it's like, you look like that curler guy. It's one of those. And then something I used to play with, no, that's not me. No, I have no idea. And then I've got the point, and they'd say, oh, that's really cool. And then I talk, and then, and again, you can tell I like to chat. So I end up yakking about them, find out where they're from, what they're doing. And again, I love that part. It was just like going into the patch at the Briar. It's at my home beer store. People come in and like to chat. And again, afterward was amazing. Like if a horrible loss or a great win, I'd hear about it on Monday morning and then Tuesday morning. And the losses were a lot harder to deal with because they didn't know what to say. It was like there was a death in the family. Oh, I hope what's new and sort of thing. But it all came with the territory, and it was great.
The beer store's come under fire lately. There's talk about blowing it up and not having a beer store anymore. I know you've had some thoughts on this in the past. What do you say to the people that say, okay, brewers retail, we don't need it anymore. The beer store shouldn't be a thing. What do you say to that?
I don't get it. It's a phenomenal system that we have. The reason it's so good, first of all, is because the pricing that we have in Ontario is because of the efficient system we have at the beer store. And everybody thinks that if we start putting beer into corner stores and grocery stores and everything, the price is going to get cheaper. It is not. It is regulated by the government. It's regulated as to how low you can possibly go. The brewers can change the pricing. It's entirely up to them. It won't be cheaper. It might be a tad more convenient, I guess, if you have more locations. But you will not get the selection. Like you guys popped up a couple of beers today. Those beers will not be in 427 beer stores. They might be in a couple in your local area. Anybody can get into the beer store. It's and then I look at the recycling end of it. We were bringing back I think 90-some percent, 95% of bottles, like 90% cans. We're bringing back all the wine bottles, the tetras, everything we're recycling mecca. And to bring all that back, who's going to do that if we don't have the beer store? And I don't, again, obviously I'm a little skewed because I was employed by them, but the system makes sense to me. And I think it's not broke. We don't need to fix it.
Yeah, I got a text. Tim, you got the same text from a buddy of ours that worked at the beer store for a few years. He said, I bet his retirement party probably wasn't as awesome as mine. What is the beer store retirement party like for Glenn Howard?
Well, you're not going to believe this, but literally tonight I said to my wife, I actually didn't have a retirement party. Oh. So it was kind of bizarre. I was working, obviously I was managing my store up in Midland, and I'm getting close to retirement. It was coming up in I guess in the January of that year, it'd be October of 18. And I started doing a lot of public relations stuff for the beer store. I was out doing a few commercials and media stuff kind of like this, talking about beer store stuff. And my president says, you get too much on your plate. Let's pull you out of the store right now and just focus on this. I said, okay. And it was kind of immediately, and I was kind of out of my store. They replaced me quickly. And then I did that for several months. And my retirement date, so that would have been like October. Then my retirement date ended up being May 1 of 19. And I just sort of morphed into La La Land, and nothing really happened. And I know my president kept saying, we've got to do something. We got to do something, pick a date. And I never did. And he never got back. He's really busy. And so to answer your question, we didn't have one. And then of course, and pandemic central, you can't even get together and have a beer with anybody. But I've been to many a retirement party of some colleagues and buddies, and they're a lot of fun.
I can imagine.
The kegs of beer are usually flowing.
The snowmobile accident you had just prior to the Briar, there's some question if you're going to play. How are you doing after that injury?
Awesome. Now, very lucky, guys. I did a number myself. Right now, I'm probably 99% healed. Ribs are all fixed up. I broke 9 ribs. Whoa, I cracked a sternum. I had a collapsed lung. I had a cracked vertebrae in my neck. Bruised heart. And a contusion behind my sternum. So I didn't have a great time. I was really, really lucky. I was in our local hospital for a couple hours, and they rushed me to Sunnybrook when they realized the damage I did. And I'll tell you guys, the healthcare system is exceptional. The crew at Sunnybrook, I was there 8 days. I probably had 50 to 60 different people see me. I had my own trauma team. They were coming in, they daily telling me what was going on. The care was exceptional, and I can't say enough about it. And they healed me. They fixed me. They got me back to normal, and they kept me down when I had to. And again, I was 8 days. Who wants to be in the hospital 8 days? But I'll tell you, the care was unbelievable, and I'm pretty much back to normal.
When you needed a nurse, did you yell "Hurry hard"?
Maybe once or twice. That's a humor, because that could be taken the wrong way, right?
You had to. Last question for you, Glenn. 2022 Olympics, is that still a goal? Is that still something you're going to work towards? Where do you see the next little while going for you?
Yeah, so we're going to have an Olympic, if everything goes fine with COVID, our Olympic trials will be at the end of November, early December of this year, because the Olympics will, of course, be in February of 22. There'll be 9 teams. I think 5 have already been named. There'll be 2 little there's a pre-trial, which is probably early October. or no, at the end of October, and that'll be about 12 teams. They'll get 2 spots out of that, and then there's a pre-trial. It's not called that, but it's another event where they're allowing about 4 or 5 teams that didn't quite make the top 5. We will actually be one of those, and we're going to be able to go to one of those events, and 2 come out of that. So if we don't get that 2, we get the chance of the next one to get the other 2. Hopefully, get one of the last spots. 9 teams to the actual trials, and then the winner gets to go to Olympics. I guess Beijing.
That would be pretty awesome.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, for sure. Glenn, thank you so much for joining us. I've seen interviews with you. I knew you were a great interview, and we're happy to have gotten you here on the 3Beer Pod. Cheers, Glenn. Thanks, and best of luck.
Boys, thanks very much. Cheers, Triple Bogey. Thanks, guys, for having me. And anytime, love to be honest. You can do it. I don't mind chatting. So best of luck. You guys have a great show, and keep up the good work.
Thanks Glenn Howard.
Going to the 10.
Yep. Yeah. Hard. Whoa. Hard.
Really hard. Run it back. Jump it across. Get it. Oh, goodness.
Oh, buddy.
Oh, my.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. That's awesome.
That's awesome. I love that.
I think I had a shot similar to that when I was.
Oh, did you?
I was curling in a Bonspiel, cancer fundraiser for cancer. I was curling with my brother, and we had substituted in a curling legend, Rocky Thompson, out of the Chatham Curling Club, and he played on our team. I skipped the team. I had a shot that Rocky Thompson thought maybe was the best shot he's ever seen. Pure luck. We went on to drink a bunch of OVs that night. That's why curling's fun. You just have a good time. The Chatham Granite Club, again, hopefully they come up with great ideas to kind of that was Glenn was talking about there, because I know it's going to be a tough go for these local clubs.
Well, Shadow told
yeah, exactly. Shadow mentioned the Golden Acres out in Blenheim and all the ones around. They're going to need support. So hopefully, again, those subsidies come through and people will jump on board and try curling, because it's a heck of a good time for sure.
So my story from the 2007 Briar, I told you about that media event where I pulled a groin, and I think it was like gone. Like it like buckled me. So as the event comes, we are one of the sponsors, one of the media sponsors of the event. So our marketing department, our promotions department is like, well, we need you guys to go out to the Briar Patch, blah, blah, blah. So we'd be out there this night, run into Glenn, run out to the guys, which was always kind of cool. Like everybody did. I'm like, this is kind of fun. So cool. So they're like, on the final night, you guys need to go. There is a concert. It's a local band, Danko Jones and the Trues. We need you to introduce the bands. I'm like, I'm there, no problem. And then the promotions guy says, he gives us this bag, this big paper bag full of like tokens. And he goes, and find out what these are for. I have no idea what these are for. They gave these to us months ago. I don't know. So I walk in there with this bag like Santa Claus. And I said, anybody know what these are for? And they said, those are beer tokens.
Come on.
Part of the deal from being a sponsor was that you got X number. There had to be hundreds of them in there. No. So I'm making it rain. So we had gotten there about 15 minutes before the first band, which was a local Hamilton band. I don't even know that the band's not even around anymore. So I go up to the stage manager, says, hi, I'm Chris. I have to introduce the band. No problem, dude. Cool. Gives me the microphone. I'm like, cool. Thank you. So you're a nerd. Things are happening backstage. People think backstage is like the coolest thing. You're just the biggest idiot back there. You're standing there like, I'm gonna go on here in a minute. So finally, the guy hits you. Come on, stupid. Let's go. So you go on stage. The light's in your eye. The crowd you're hammered. The crowd's hammered. I say, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2007 Briar. Welcome to everybody. I throw some tokens out because I'm the man.
Yes.
Put your hands together. Rock and roll, Hamilton style. It's Billy's band, whatever the stupid band is. I come off stage. This guy is staring daggers at me like,
oh, buddy.
He goes, you're a fucking asshole.
What?
And I was like, me? I'm just the dumb radio guy. Like,
come on,
fucking asshole.
What?
And I was like, what the hell? It was Danko Jones.
Yeah.
They didn't tell me that they moved the opening band up early.
No.
So I introduced Jimmy's Crab Shack or whatever the hell the band was. It's Danko Jones.
Come on.
So Danko's entire set. If you ever seen a Danko show, he's music rocks, but he is like pissed off the whole time. He's like, "Hey, it's Danko Jones. You see that fat loser?
Yep.
He called us Jimmy's crap shot." He ripped me
Come
his
on.
entire set. So I just sat at the back. And everyone come up to me.
Come
"That
on."
loser?" Yeah. So the whole time.
So did you introduce the Trues after that?
No. So Danko finishes.
I went
and
home.
They're changing the stage, and they're like, "Could the radio announcer please come back to the front, please?"
No.
They repeatedly did it, and everyone look at me, and I'm like,
Nope.
I'm not going anywhere near that. Nowhere.
How close to that was your being released from this radio station?
It happened a few short weeks later. Yeah.
Coincidence? Maybe.
Possibly. Quite possibly.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. That and then 2011, I think it was in London, and I think it was another Briar, and it was I was just there to watch, and I just felt like shame the whole time. Every time I see somebody introduce a band, I'm like, double check who's next.
Yeah.
Double check, because
That's amazing. Hey man, they when we had the Pinties here in Chatham a couple years ago, man, was that a good time. We had a live band in the end.
Yeah.
We're basically sitting on the ice watching it in the bar.
Yeah.
Wow. That a good? I went 2 nights in a row, back to back. Wow, was that a good time watching curling curling legends. And,
if you've never seen it,
had a couple of beers.
Yeah, if you've never been to a curling event, go.
Do it.
Like it sounds pretty wild. Timmer, let's double back. Let's get to our beer buzz. What's going on in the beer world here today? We wanted to highlight a new release. Let's start with that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for sure. We did. I was like,
we do, right?
And on too. Yeah. So I was drinking the Boxcars Brown Ale, which, man, I lay off brown ale sometimes because I'm all into the juicy, hoppy stuff. But I just dove into this one to start. It's so damn tasty.
Yeah.
I need to just I got to diversify my beer portfolio in the fridge and include the brown ale a little bit more. That one's tasty. But wow, am I excited about that. Having said that, I'm going to diversify. I'm going to really go back to this bad boy when it comes out this week. Thursday, Sons of Kent is releasing the Super 8, which is kind of like the friend of the 8-track. And I remember when the Super 8 came out, I came up with my memories the other day. It was like an event release party for the Super 8. Man, was that a good event release. Remember when they could do things like that? Anyways, get yourself Super 8 this Thursday at Sons of Kent. Sons of Kent also is doing curbside. Retail's still open. The kitchen's still open. Skip the dishes. All those good things are happening still at Sons of Kent. So know that they're still around, and the Super 8's coming back, and that is tasty.
Delicious. Hey, a shout out. Shouldn't mute my mic. Shout out to the guys over at let's see if I can get it up there. Red Barn. Over at Red Barn, I was talking to them today. They're obviously they're opening up. Retail is open. Curbside is open, so you can go online and you can order there. But they wanted to let you know that the Tropical Wheat Wave will be available this weekend at Red Barn out Blenheim Way. So if you're looking to stop by or get out, support local, or order online, that's where you start. Right
and again, I dove into this one tonight. So tasty. This kettle sour series that they're doing.
Yes.
And again, I know a lot of people stray away from sours because like, oh, it's not my thing. Kettle sours have changed kind of how sours are felt in the beer world. So I would get out there. Hopefully they still got some of these, and I'm not pumping up a beer they don't have. But if they still got some, get out there and grab some because they are tasty. So our friends at Red Barn as well. One more shout out, Cloudy. Can I just do the Wellington shout out?
I guess.
Again, the Wellington mailed this to me, and you'll notice it's an empty box now. I gave it to Cloudy.
Was there beer in there?
Yeah, there was 4 in here. There was the Hell's Lager, which is there's kind of a staple beer, and then this double IPA, which I jumped into as well. It's the Faces double IPA. Oh, that one's not even in here. This was just a release. I'm not even sure where that one came from. That's delicious. All Weather is Passing. You drank that one. And Phantom Time, you drank that one too.
Did I?
Bet you like them. And I still have the Pinwheel, which is a sour pineapple ghost in my fridge. Again, Wellington also had the sparkling hop water, which It's interesting. It has zero sugar, zero alcohol, and you might be saying to yourself, "Why would I drink that?" It's got hop flavor in it, and it's freaking tasty.
I'll have to give it a shot. You gave me one of those. You gave me one of those.
Try it out. Anyways, those are our friends at Wellington. They've sent us some beer.
We've talked to the Beer Buzz before, Tim, about what nation is the biggest drinking nation in the world, and it's the Czechs. The Czechs are the biggest drinking per capita of drinkers, but numbers are saying that because of the pandemic, those numbers are down. So when your top level is falling down, we're all following, or there's
Who's
a chance for
rising
us
to
to
the
be
top?
number one. Yes. So this is your chance to work hard and take it to the next level. So the Czechs are failing behind with.
So I thought you were pumping me up. Like I have to drink more. So this is our chance to get up there.
This is our chance. This is the opening for us to take the Glenn Howard route, become local champions, and then we suddenly are like top of the heap.
I feel Eminem just bouncing in my back of my head right now. You only got one shot, guys. This is it. Grab from your local brewery. Get yourself some beers delivered. Pick up curbside. Go for it.
Tim, we got two angles we can go here. I don't know if we're going to have time for both. Do you want to go heavy? We can talk vaccines. You want to do that? Let's talk vaccines. Let's talk.
I think we talk vaccines, buddy. Just for a quick second. Because it jumped into our wheelhouse here, buddy.
Yeah,
I know people might look at us and say, "You guys are over 40?" Weird.
It's not 25 plus.
You guys didn't even notice, but I shaved my beard. I had a mustache for a bit this week.
Did you?
Didn't go over that well in the household. Got rid of it. Growing the beard back. Fresh start. But we are over 40, buddy, and shots are available for us. So book.
Hold on, you gotta say that again. What's available for us?
The shot. So our local medical officer of health is Dr. David Colby, who you've chatted with a couple of times in your day job. That's how I picture it when I go and book a shot.
Yep.
Or at your local pharmacy, you can get the AZ shot. I think that's what it looks like.
Yep.
Could you imagine that's what it actually looked like?
That's what the question they asked me is, would I be available if a opening became open within an hour? So today was day one. I just hung around like that kid did when you have a pool. What's going on?
Think he's gonna let me in?
Anybody?
Think they're gonna invite me in? And then it just turns into that pool party there. So here's what I'm saying, buddy.
Yep.
If you're over 40, get yourself the shot. So the pool party that we can have sometime soon looks like this. We can't have that. We can't have that pool party unless people are taking those shots.
Get your shot.
Get your shot.
Get your shot. Tim, this went viral over the weekend. This is North Carolina, where
this is amazing.
The guy's name is Happy. His wife's name is Lauren or something. Lindsay. Okay, so you'll hear it here. So he's walking out to his car in the morning. He's happy. That's his name. But he's also that very happy neighbor. Good morning. And then it goes sideways.
Goes real sideways.
Here, have a look at this, and we will discuss.
Good morning.
How you doing, bud?
I need to wash my car.
Is he carrying cupcakes or a cake?
He's just living life. Look over the top left of your screen. Watch this. Oh. It's a bump.
Watch out! I'm gonna shoot that fucker! Get out! Watch out! Watch out! It's a bobcat! Attack my wife! A bobcat!
Oh my God!
Good morning.
Wait a second. He's the happiest dude, and then It turns out he's just packing heat. He's
going 0 to 60. So
Good morning.
we'll play it again. So everything's great. Good morning. How you doing? He's carrying cupcakes. He's probably going to feed the homeless. And if you watch at the top of the screen, a bobcat scurries across the street, doubles back after his wife. He grabs that bobcat like a rugby ball.
I'm not sure what he thought about when he was throwing it, though.
No, maybe he thought he was throwing it further. It's probably what he's like.
Yeah.
But chuck
I
this
got
thing
this.
down the
I'm
block.
throw this guy right in the next neighborhood. That didn't happen. When he pulls, watch for him pulling the gun, though. That's when shit gets ramped, yo.
So the background here, the bobcat had rabies.
Right.
They've each had to get 30 shots. They're all right. He ended up shooting the bobcat. We don't have video of him, but he caps the bobcat. He caps it.
Which is amazing.
Caps it. Let's watch again because
One more time.
There's pieces to watch now. So happy, the gentleman,
Right.
very happy.
Saves
Greatest
his
neighbor
wife.
ever. Packing heat. Watch for the bobcat scurrying across the top, and then him chucking it to the other neighborhood.
Good morning.
What a great day. Gotta wash this car.
Comes the bobcat.
What's that noise? Oh shit. There he goes. Look at him. He's got it. Like Simba. Look at the bobcat.
I'm gonna shoot it.
Watch out!
He's carrying a gun.
Fucker! Get out! Watch out! It's a bobcat attacked my wife! A bobcat!
A bobcat? A what? A bobcat attacked my.
Good morning.
It starts with good morning. I'm carrying cupcakes out to homeless. And
Where
now
was he
I'm
going with the cupcakes and a gun, though? Where was this? Where was the end game here?
I don't know. So the cat was going to the vet. There was a cat in the cage. The wife was carrying a cat. They were taking it to the vet. He ends up shooting a bobcat, which is phenomenal. The whole thing is amazing. But here's what it says: he saved his wife's life from the bobcat. How many bobcat deaths are there in the United States every year?
Less this year for sure.
He's happy. Took out that rabid bobcat. I would not want to live in a city with rabid bobcats. If you are looking to buy or sell a house, Chatham, Kent, contact Chris McLeod.
Bobcat free.
We are bobcat and rabid bobcat free. 100%. 100%. Give our friend Chris McLeod at Realty House a call today if you're looking to buy or sell.
And you thought Glenn Howard had the best shot in the show today.
Happy.
Second best.
Buddy. Oh, that's good times, Cloudy.
Get my wife. Thank you, Tim, to our sponsors, as always.
Oh, our lovely friend of Shauna over at the Health House. Thanks for coming out tonight. And Chris McLeod at Realty House. Again, bobcat free here in Chatham, Kent if you're looking to buy or sell. And big announcement coming up here with the Pakistan Super League.
Oh, baby.
I know you guys think we've been teasing this. We haven't.
I will say, though, Tim, if you do want a bobcat, I'll make that happen.
Right. If you're trying to go the other way and you're trying to raise bobcats in a
full
new
service.
area,
Full service realtor.
guy. He'll find you a bobcat housing area.
Bobcat Farm. That's it for the pod. Thanks for tuning in for season 5, episode number 1. Thanks to Glenn Howard. What a cool guest.
Feels good to be back, Cloudy. Glenn Howard. What a great guest. Next week, it's going to be good too.
Tim, let's be honest here. We've never planned this much in advance as we have for season 5.
No.
Minds are going to be blown. And next week, we have camera angles and we have lighting. We have
It's going to be good. I'm excited for next week too. Glenn Howard, that was awesome. Thanks, man.
That was a lot of fun. Thank you. Timmer, have a good one, buddy. Cheers.
Thanks,